Hi, everyone. Welcome back to How We Heal with Dr. Maria. I have a special guest on today. I'm super excited. Today, we are talking about truth and health and how that leads to healing. So, you guys know one of the reasons why I started the show is because I want to get out to more people different ways of healing. I want people to see different stories of how people are healing. I want them to know so many different options and different ways that people are getting through a health moment. And today we've got Becoming the Way of the Feminine, international speaker, best-selling author, business coach, consultant, and my friend Alexis Asbe. Welcome to the show, Alexis.
Hi, babe. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm super excited because we are going to talk about some fun stuff and get a little dirty, a little down to the nitty-gritty here, right?
Yeah, the truth is a little dirty. Got to get in the mud to get to the truth.
Yes, and I don't mind that. So let's do it, girl. Okay,
Yeah.
so first off, I know we have some things that we want to talk about, but I had to get through this one little thing that's been bothering me.
Okay.
Do you think that there's a war on truth right now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So perceptive of you. It doesn't surprise me because that's so like you to get to right to the root of something, right? Like just so your capacity that way. It's
My
so rich.
jam.
hmm
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. There's a war
And I
on
don't
truth.
care anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm past some things like to where, okay, Dr. Maria's gonna be nice and sweet and whatever. No, it's
Mm,
we're both on a mission here, right?
mm.
We came to play big. So let's do it.
Yeah, I don't I used to want to play big. Now I just want to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually where the opening is, right? And then that's where expansion can live. And that's what I'm most excited about. And I'm really grateful to you and so many others that are also really feeling into this frequency that wants to come through. And I absolutely agree with you. There's been a war on truth since the beginning of time. It's since the biblical times. And you know, that I can dive off into that whole thing, but I won't. So I'll let you guide us because I want to be efficient and effective and honor the space as well.
Well, I think the main guide is that we are seeking health and healing. Okay. So yes, all the negative, bad entity, all of that is out there. And yes, it's been going on since day one. It's like though, in my mind, it's like though, why is it being hidden? Why aren't we told or taught from a young age? To me, the truth is inside of us. And how come we are not taught at such a young age to dive in there and find it and
hmm
peel
hmm
back whatever traumas might be in there and get to whatever the truth is? There's truth inside of us. There are non-truths
Yeah.
that are being taught to us.
For sure.
How do we use our discernment and whatever resonates with us? How do we practice that to find the truth?
Oh, such great questions. I think that the first thing that I want to say about that is, why wouldn't people want to know the truth, right? Well, I think that the reason that people don't want other people to know the truth because there's some sort of ego or manipulation or control that is involved. Very often when we start telling the truth, like within our own healthcare system, that the answers are all inside of us, or you don't need pharmaceuticals, or all of the medicine that we have is on, right here available to us in our garden or in our own inner knowing, is that doesn't create a codependency on a system that keeps us enslaved. And that's a lot about why I teach what I teach, which is you know the feminine tells the truth. And so as a teacher and an advocate in and around the feminine, my own story is I have been in denial of my own feminine. I have been in denial of what that looks like to embrace the darkness, because the dark isn't necessarily bad. It's actually where we heal and create. The thing that we've been told, though, is to sing that pretty, pretty praise song and put on that good girl face and make everybody else happy. But by all means, let's not make anybody uncomfortable, because if we make people uncomfortable, then maybe the truth will come out.
Ooh, the truth, scary. And then definitely some part of that means that you are taking responsibility for self and self-realization, and oh my gosh, God forbid, heaven forbid, aliens forbid that we actually take responsibility for our own actions
Yeah.
in our healthcare, in our relationships, in our business
Oh, yeah.
transactions, everything.
Oh, yeah. Like taking responsibility would mean that there's not a big giant sky daddy out there that's going to come and swoop in and take care of us, aka government or companies, or someone to come along and save us. That we would actually have to be sovereign, and that we actually are sovereign and free beings. And so, therefore, that would kind of mess up that whole system, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So definitely this kind of talk is could be potentially threatening. Don't
Mm.
worry, I'm back up on Rumble, but but I really want to focus on how we can get to this point of healing, right? So there are traumas all around us, whether it be, from childhood or, current moment that you're in. How do we use truth to heal ourselves?
Yeah. So, first, I think that we have to be willing to actually look at where the disconnection is, right? And
Mhm.
if we're afraid of that, or the conditioning that tells us it's not okay to look at truth or to tell the truth. And that, I think, is where the origin really is that we have to be willing to go to the origin of the point of pain or dis-ease or dis-ease, and then excavate from there, right? The way that our current system is set up is that we don't go to the origin. We are like, oh, you're having anxiety, here's a pill. Oh, you're having, depression, here's a pill. Oh, like you're having, like, for example, I actually have this hip and this back situation going on right now where I had been on vacation, and um, I overdid it. And the first thing they want to give me is muscle relaxers and, you know, tell me to go get an MRI. I'm like, can you tell me how to fix this? Like, I'm pretty sure that this is, brought on by, a one-time incident, right? This isn't something that's been getting progressive, but there's an origin of which that my body is actually saying, hello, pay attention, you know, and we're not taught to pay attention to what the origin is. We're taught to just placate the symptom and not heal it.
Yeah, that's easier. It's more comfortable. You don't face maybe root causes, right? Because in chiropractic care, you guys know I'm a chiropractor, you know, subluxation comes from emotional trauma to the body, chemical trauma to the body, and physical trauma to the body. And what I always share with my patients is it's usually never just one of those things.
Right.
We're usually dealing with all of the above. So
Yeah.
if
Yeah, and
if
there's another agenda here going on, is that the agenda is get people back to work and numbed up as quickly as possible, because like that's we all have to be productive. Why do we have to be productive, and why does it have to be so speedy, and why is there an impatience around this? Who's winning at this particular game? Or we tell ourselves those stories. I can't be without the money. I can't da 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 da. All of that. But what if we just said, hey, I'm really working on healing my back, which I've been very vocal about, as a professional, as an influencer, that I want people to see the journey, that it's not actually just a straight line up, that there's the trajectory looks a lot like the stock market, which is interesting. It looks a lot like, two steps forward, one step back, three steps forward, three steps back, two steps forward, one step back. And it does this kind of a thing to get to, a healing state. But I think that it also has to be addressed that there's multiple things that we have to consider. One, the disconnection from our heart, right? The disconnection from our sensuality and our sexuality, our body, and then also perhaps a disconnection from our head. So heart, head, what I would say heart, head, pussy is like for women. Yeah, I just said it, so it's cool.
Yeah.
No one's gonna die. Um,
No, we'll be
but
fine.
yeah, the alignment is really important. And when there's a misalignment, like if I'm all head, I'm not connecting with my truth. If I'm all sex, I'm not connecting with the logic or, again, my truth. If I'm all heart, I may not be filtering in like logic or mind with the deep body's knowing of what she needs. And so I think that that alignment has to be integrated, and we're not taught because, I mean, we can go there, right? Like, we can go there. We're not taught. We're taught that, like, our sexuality is naughty, like bad, like
Mm.
don't do that, like don't talk about that, right? It's also truth and life force.
Well, also, you're talking about alignment. If alignment isn't there because a person is always looking for something outside of themselves or something to soothe them that is outside of them,
Yeah, it's a
how
convenient
can,
system because
yeah,
then we become dependent
or
on something
escape.
outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we, it, and again, I think that is an agenda that is
Well, it's just like the pill, basically. It's just this easy
slippery.
fix. Yeah, slippery
Yeah,
slope. Yeah.
slippery. It's slippery to be dependent on something that is outside of ourself and convenient at the same time. I can very much see why people would get addicted to painkillers or opioids, given the pain, right? And I have a lot of compassion for that. But
Yeah.
it can be anything. It can be, are we addicted to shopping? Are we addicted to overworking? Are we addicted to just distracting
Scrolling.
ourselves? Scrolling.
Scrolling.
hmm I find if I find myself scrolling, I'm like, you are looking for connection, babe. Like you are deeply looking for connection. This is a counterfeit source of connection,
Yes.
right? This is not real connection. Real
Mhm.
connection is heart to heart. Is and again, I really believe that real connection, which I think we're moving out of since this whole COVID fiasco, is a reunion of people being with each other again.
Which I love. And I know, sorry, we're having to do this over Zoom. It's a great way to get information out. Definitely, hopefully in the future, we will be in person doing more podcasts that way. I cannot wait. Um,
I also
so,
think that there's like anything, right? There is benefit. Like, let's say you get into a car accident and your arm is broken. Like, I think there's benefit to to emergency situations or different aspects. I just think that there's a dysfunction that is going on right now. And like technology, I mean, we're probably meeting people all the way across the country in different parts of the world or in different parts of the world right now, which we wouldn't be doing. So there is beautiful parts, right?
oh yeah, it's technology is not bad for sure.
Not
Um,
always bad, but I
yeah.
think the overuse or the dependency, that's why AI is so slippery.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's kind of take a step back because I know I kind of just swooshed right on in. We started talking about truth and health. Um, you and I both, well, I like to say we all are doing energy work. I don't care what your profession is, we're all doing energy work, just being there, just existing, right? So let's take a step back and go, I want to know what you do to help people. Your what's your mission on this planet?
Mm, the energy that I serve is truth. And so that's why when you asked me about this podcast, like what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about truth. And basically the container, right? The system by which people come to me is they're looking for personal or professional development work.
Okay.
They want to be more successful. They want to know why their life isn't working. Many times they've checked all the boxes, they've become a doctor. A lot of the clients I work with are therapists or doctors, very high level, really intelligent people. And they get to maybe, 40 years old and they're wondering, why am I not happy? Why is it not what I thought it was going to be? I did all the things I was supposed to do, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And, we're sold that go to college, check the boxes, do the right thing, say the right thing, wear the right clothes, you know, it, and very often there's this deep emptiness that happens. And, I can say that from my own experience at 40 years old, I had a company that was working for celebrities and um, I worked for the Vice President of the United States. I worked for the Duchess of York. It was really everything that I thought that I wanted. I had the house with the really great barn and the healthy children and the dog and the cat and the pony and the housekeeper and the nanny. And then I'm sitting on my front porch, after work, freaking exhausted and wondering, why am I not satisfied? Right? And
Yeah.
so what I do is I help people remember what their truth is.
Funny, I do the same thing in a different way, right?
Yeah.
So we help people, I help remind people of their innate intelligence. And that's what that sounds like to me that you're doing as well. Um,
And
so
when you've been programmed to believe that you don't have innate inner knowing or a a connection to the divine is when we end up dissatisfied, unhappy, and searching for something that we perceive as not actually there.
well, something that we're searching for is the divine. We just don't know if we're not
Mhm.
looking for that. So yeah, how does sort of moving that energy that you're helping with your clients? So the way I see it is you're helping to move energy. What does energy have to do with health? It sounds like to me when you were sitting on that porch, you weren't feeling so healthy. And then
No.
you looked at it differently.
Uh, for me in that moment, I was sitting on that porch crying, feeling a lot of shame, right? Here I have everything that most people would want, and I was ashamed to even feel what I was feeling. I was ashamed to feel like, because we're taught just be grateful, be positive, be grateful, right? And a lot of that is really wonderful and very valuable to focus on things that are positive. However, there's a level of toxicity when we can't acknowledge the underbelly or the shadow side of what is going on. So first, the very most important thing that I think that people should probably be looking at is where they feel shame or where they are hiding in some way.
Mhm. 'Cause that's where the disconnect is, like you were talking about
Yeah.
before.
Mhm.
Um, mhm. I know definitely we're gonna talk a little bit more about the stuff that you've got going on right now. I definitely want to get to that, but let's first dive a little bit more into
And so I want to just answer your question
yeah,
really
go ahead.
succinctly
Yep,
for people about what does energy have to do with health or how does
yep.
energy serve truth? Everything is energy. Everything is energetic. The way we do anything is the way we do everything, right? And so, um, for example, if I am putting on a false front or a false pretense, right? That is actually saying to the universe, who I am is not okay. So the universe energy meets like attracts like, says inauthentic, not real, not sustainable energetics. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the hardest things for people to do because like if you tell the truth, like if you say someone says, "Hey, do you want to go out to dinner tonight?" and you say, "No, I don't want to go out to dinner with you tonight." They're going to be like, "So rude. Oh my God." And most of us are like, oh, I have other plans. They don't have other plans. They just don't want to go to fucking dinner with you right now. They just don't feel it. Does that does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
I would
Definitely
love,
have had it done to me as well. So,
yeah.
and that's fine. It's like loving people where they're at and sort of just like I would rather someone be honest with me like that, you know, than not. I mean, I
I
think
know, but
we
that brings up a whole nother slew of, whole nother conversation. Why am I offended if you don't want to go to dinner with me? What is my responsibility in this? Like, am I making up a story? Those kinds of things. And that requires a level of stillness and presence that is required that I don't think that we're conditioned to actually have because we've been conditioned to please people as opposed to um, be radically honest.
do we have to be rude and harsh? I don't think so either. Yeah.
No, I screwed up today. I promised to call someone at 10:45. My client went, one of my clients went over. I was going to my next client and I was already on a call and I just said the truth. Hey, I messed up. I'm super sorry. I promised I'd give you a call. This is like 11:05.
Yeah.
Super sorry. I messed up. I'm on a call with my next client. Please forgive me. Can I call you later this evening or sometime this weekend? They're like, "Oh, absolutely. No problem. I got you."
Which are three of my favorite words, a few of my favorite words on this planet. I got you. When people say that to me, oh, it feels so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, like
Okay.
who doesn't screw up? I screwed up. Like, you know, the perfectionism thing is like is crazy. I have to be perfect in order to be liked or acceptable or I can't be in my genius if I'm human. Um I'm really sure that my humanity actually cultivates my genius. And that means screwing up.
Yes. Well, for example, Dr. Maria cusses a lot. And
I
so I
do.
and so I know
I
people have
do.
different feelings on that, and some people would never dare to cuss or curse in front of me, though I might. Um, some people are very polite about it and let me. The way I see it is that that's just the real raw me.
Yes.
And
And you get to choose your vernacular and how you use language, and that's for you to decide. I don't get to decide that for you.
wow. Ooh. Okay. Should we go there? I have one more question because I want to kind of take it away from that because you help people and I want more people to know about you. And what does personal and professional development have to do with health? Because you sort of just touched on it, like you showing the realness of you
Uh-huh.
will allow you to be more healthy, I believe.
Well, absolutely. And, most of the time people enter into personal and professional development because there's something that's not working in their life, right? There's something that's out. And sometimes, they come and they're like, I'm overworking, right? Or my relationship is breaking down, which usually goes to there's some sort of distraction or disconnect or inability to relate. And personal and professional development, the healthier we get, the more fluid our life is, and vice versa. And when every time without fail, and I'm just going to say this out loud on this podcast, and I hope everybody hears me. Here's the thing: if we are the factory, right, that goes in, like that's our work, right? And this factory is sick or broken, what kind of product are we going to be putting out? And
Yeah.
so, and I always say the fish stinks from the head down. If you are having problems in your organization, your team is, you're having a lot of turnover, or you're not profitable, or people, or you're overworking, it starts right here with the leader itself. And the leader has to be healthy in order for the product to be healthy as well. I love it when people tell me that they're coming, that they want to serve or that they want to provide good customer service for people. And I'm always like, are you a good service to yourself? Are you providing good service or good practices to yourself?
Yeah. And to
Yeah.
that, we just talked about energy.
Hmm.
If everything is energy, then it will show up. The body doesn't lie.
No, the body doesn't lie. And, you know, leaders who are healthy have really healthy organizations. They have really healthy relationships. They have people that they support that are also reaping the benefits of that. But we haven't been taught that it starts foundationally with us first, and
Yeah.
then it ripples out from there.
Yeah. And it'll end up on the product energetically as well, was
Yeah.
sort of
He-
my point.
yeah. Here's a really great example. Kids right now. We have a huge number of children, teenagers, 18 to 25 years old, that are actually committing suicide. No one is talking about this. And the reason they're not talking about this is because no one wants to take responsibility that we have to look upstream, upriver, to where this disconnection is. And what those kids are missing is they have been raised in an environment, in a culture, in a household that has not connected them, right? They're not connecting.
Yeah.
And God forbid that we should actually say, maybe as a family or as a parental unit, that we, the factory, are not putting out good products because we haven't started with the source first.
Again, taking responsibility for your own self, which starts at home first. Clean your own house first.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy, but our system is not set up for people to be healthy. So I'm a huge advocate as a corporate consultant. I am not a huge advocate for people being like enslaved to a job or working in a position or a role that is not a good fit, right? So why are we trying to force people into positions that aren't conducive to who they are? You're
Well,
trying to fit square pegs into round holes. No one's served by that. Someone's going to suffer. Something's going to suffer,
yeah.
you know?
S-
And then
So,
we have families that are trying to raise children that have to work and they have no freedom in their lives to actually support their families, but they need to put food on the table.
yeah, it's like you say, rushy, rushy, gotta work. Everything is so dog eat dog. Like, are we gonna eat tonight? You know what I mean? So why aren't we also teaching, how to grow your own food? Or can you imagine the product or the success that you would have as a person if you were actually doing something that you loved, something that your round self fit in that round hole and you felt whole inside because you were doing something that you loved? You would probably be making way more money. You'd be waking up happy every morning. You're in your truth, you're healthier because you're not creating all these stress chemicals in your body.
The Netherlands is like one of the top places to live if you want to be happy. And one of the things I love about that, the system or the way that their society is set up is that they only work like 4 days a week, right? And then they have a family day and then they have like a weekend where it's really focused on that. I think that's really genius. The other thing they do is that they don't have a lot, they all ride bikes, right? So bike riding is really big, and smaller living spaces versus larger living spaces is also very common in that society. You know, Bigger is not necessarily better, but they're happy.
Yeah. Maybe it's not so much more room to create more junk. Do you know what I mean? All the stuff, all the things and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I want to keep going just a little bit longer. I know I try to keep the shows to an hour. I have no idea where we're at, but let's kind of
We're
just,
we're at 2:15. I think we started about a half hour ago.
oh gosh, we can keep going a little bit if you have more time. Um, we haven't really talked about, you kind of touched on the divine female. I believe this episode is for men and women.
Oh yeah.
Um, why could this show, even though you're talking about divine feminine and and how you help women, why could this show be for men? How could it help them to know more about the divine feminine? Ooh.
Well, hold on, my husband just came in. He's a lot of boy, so he's really loud. So hold
Yeah,
on just a
yeah, no,
second. Let me
that's
shut my
okay.
let me shut my office
Yeah,
door really
yeah.
fast. Hi, babe, I'm on a call.
I just enjoyed kind of watching you go into the forest to find your answer, to find your man. And then now you're back. So that's cool because we are going to go into plant medicine here in just a sec.
Yeah, so I think that 10 years ago I've been like, "Oh, hold on, let me try to like pretend or not tell you what's happening right now
Yeah, yeah.
because, we're on YouTube and like we got to be
Professional.
perfect."
Yeah, yeah.
But, it's just like such a racket. Um, you know, we were taught that there has to be some sort of pomp and circumstance, right? And so, anyways, why is this for men as well? So, I think the real suffering that's happening is not gender specific, right? So I don't think it's just men or women that are suffering when we're not serving truth. I think that what men are being denied without having a fully embodied feminine on the planet or the understanding of the feminine is that they are deeply suffering. And the way that they're deeply suffering is that the reason the masculine is here, right? And I'm not just saying men, I'm saying energetically, is to the purpose of the masculine is like let's just use an example, very basic. The sun is an energetic of masculine. The sun is about attention, protection, and presence. The purpose of the masculine, the sun, is to shine light, give heat, protect. Without the sun, we can't exist on the planet, correct? Right?
I hear give.
Give,
Hmm.
support,
Hmm.
right? And when the masculine, men in general, don't know what their role is, right? Or they don't have the opportunity to serve because perhaps maybe a woman is energetically embodying more of her masculine,
Hmm.
he doesn't know what to do or how to serve or where to go or what his role is, and then he's denied the beauty of adoration, approval, and acceptance, that the feminine so thrives on.
Agreed.
And so I see a lot of men suffering in and around. All they want to do is adore us. They want to adore the feminine. The reason they're fighting wars and we go to work and we, you know, slave in our jobs is so that we can take care of our families, right? That's a very large segment of our country's our men are doing in this country is to support their families. And all they want to do is see them happy and fulfilled and protected and thriving. And when the feminine is not embodied, right? They don't have that opportunity to see their fullness come true.
And I see it starting so very young. So the mom could actually be taking on some sort of energy that's their feminine isn't embodied. They are not fully present in their feminine either. So then the young male son is sort of getting taught that control female kind of energy. And that's, I don't want to say traumatic, but it's definitely the brain remembers, and
Hmm.
then it carries on for generations because then possibly that young boy is now looking for
Yeah.
that, and then they're
Yeah.
still not satisfied. This whole
Yeah.
time they're still not satisfied.
Yeah. Or try this one on. So we as women are feeling the deficit of not being loved, right? So we want the attention of a man or we want to have that relationship. But the way that we're taught to actually get that attention is to overdo, overgive. Those are all masculine energetics,
Mhm.
right? Strive and drive, right? Boss babe, boss babe, baby, Like, I got it all under control. I can bring home a bacon, fry it up in a pan, and I'll never let you forget you're a man. You know, all of that is a masculine energetic. And I know because I did it. So I'm an expert on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a woman, I feel like I'm all woman. I don't want to be wearing that down there. I am all woman. I want to be a woman. I want to be soft. I want to be protected and provided for. Yes, I am um a businesswoman, so I get to kind of wear that hat a little bit, and that's fun. Luckily for me, and I've said this before, is I get to nurture people in my job because it just so happens to be that way. There are women that don't get that. They're in those really harsh bottom line, deadline, you know.
And I don't fault women or judge them for their ambition. We can
No.
we can
Yeah.
absolutely have that. And what I really encourage women to do is understand that they don't have to be a bright, shiny, sunny day all the time. There is an aspect of the feminine that is also a volcano, right? I mean, we are very, very powerful, but understand who you are and what you come with. Get into the truth of who you are. Understand your divinity, understand your power, understand your shadow, your dark side, and fully approve of all of it and don't deny it.
Yeah, definitely. And there are aspects to people that are both masculine and feminine and androgynous and that kind of thing. And I think people can wear it really well balanced, that kind of thing. Um, but going back to starting at a young age, and the mom could be like that, right? And then that person is finding a partner that tends to be like that. It just is carrying on that, masculine energy. And I don't know, I think that
And I don't think masculine energy is toxic. I think there are toxic humans, but I don't think masculine is toxic. So I get
agreed.
a little bit weirded out when people are like, "Oh, that's toxic masculinity." Um, that's masculine energy is not toxic. There are toxic men and there are toxic women, and masculine is not necessarily toxic. Now, the energetic of control, um, constraint, uh, it or too tight of a container can is not sustainable for
Mhm.
sure, right? It's like having a plant in a pot and then it grows to a certain point and the pot's like this big and it's the plant's not going to get any bigger. It's not going to thrive, right?
Well, it's just not giving the man the opportunity to be a man, period. If the woman is being controlling, trying to take over and having that masculine force all the time, and then he's just not doesn't know what to do with that. So hopefully,
The intersect of both is what we're after. It's the
mhm,
integration of both the masculine and the feminine, first within ourselves, um, for a healthy body, right? Healthy body, mind, spirit, everything is the integration of both energetics in each individual. And then as partners or as in relationships is how do we integrate, you know, together that way.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
that's what produces the
Mm.
fruit. That's what produces life. That's what's life-giving in any situation. It's the law of the universe.
Yeah, it's definitely where we can start creating, and I love that
Yeah,
idea of creating together.
yeah, for sure. I agree
Hmm.
with you 100%. It's also the way that we actually can heal our bodies is the integration of both. One of the things that's going on to bring this back to my back, as you know, because you're my chiropractor and my friend, is is what I'm being taught, right, with my back right now is something that is up for review. Is I probably have not been supporting my back enough. And the way that I'm healing my back right now is not with a quick fix. It's a very steady container, which is masculine, as well as integrating the emotional part, which is also feminine, right? The flow is to deeply tuning into to what is enough and what is too much and
Yeah.
finding that balance, right? And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Right?
I know
Because
you don't.
I'm like a quick fix. I want to fix it. I want to fix it now. But
Yes.
honestly, that's the lesson that I'm being taught with this particular injury is how do we find the middle road? How do we find the intersect of the masculine and feminine energetics? That polarity is life-giving. That's where healing is.
Yeah. I mean, and I have to, it's so funny because I know who my women are that come in. I don't want to say type A, but just the heavy hitters, the hard chargers. I know who they are, and I'm always saying, hey, more isn't always better. More of the hot pack isn't always better. More of the stretching isn't always better. So when you're healing, let's
Yeah.
give your body a chance. Okay, so why do you teach? Well, I want to ask, why do you teach around feminine and how does that connect to wellness? But I also love the idea of, why do you think it's so important to do a sister network that you call a sister network?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. So, um, in I used to be in business with my husband. We used to own a construction company, and one of the things that happens at joints is that in the corner you can have like a joint, right, or a beam, and the way that that beam actually becomes stronger is they call it sistering because you support the beam with two other posts, and that is what makes that structure so incredibly strong, right? And so why I think it's so important is to have a sisterhood is the feminine has aspects to it that we as a society don't trust, right? Dark spaces, right? The moon is the feminine, the unknown. I liken it to driving, right? You can only see 6 feet in front of you. You got to be able to trust, and that's terrifying. However, when you have a sister in the car with you, or you have a sister that's alongside of you, and she's like, I got you, it's a much different energetic, right? We get through it together, we rise together stronger. Um, and so I think it's really important to have a network of women in our life that are not trying to fix the problem, but just alongside of us saying, I see you, I got you got this. Everything you're feeling is valid. None of it is to be ashamed about. And um, to hold us in those times that we need to be held and not fix it, but to just bear witness to it. Um, Again, healing and grieving, for example, in many countries, like many countries, one of the practices is that people take to the streets and they wail with grief for the loss of their loved ones, as they should. It's a very deep part of healing is to be witnessed.
It's crazy
And
because, oh, go ahead.
yeah, and women witnessing other women in their rupture, in their rising, in their birthing, in their full expression, right? Just takes all of us higher.
Yeah, I mean, we know a
It,
lot of native cultures that will
uh-huh,
tend to do that. The women, come together and they do their work together.
yeah. You know, I think that we can put a lot on our partners, right? I know that I used to do this, like, he can't be everything to me,
Mhm.
but I will tell you, men do relationship with other men. Um, I think they do it a little bit better than us, honestly. Like they can go fist to cuffs and have a fight, and the next day they're best friends. I
Yeah, I
mean,
always thought that was,
you have a fight with a woman, man, and she will very often be looking over her shoulder and hunting your ass down for the rest of your known life. So, you know, you don't, it's a different deal. It's like uh men are really good at like supporting each other and not judging each other in that way. And, I think it goes back to and I don't want to go too far into this, but I think it goes back to the burning of the witches, right? You know, family members threw other family members under the bus just so they could save their own asses. Like what happened was wrong, but people die. I just think the biggest travesty was that other women didn't link arms and say, if you can do this to one of us, you can do this to all of us. And the other thing is like, who is going to be on the planet if this happened to all of us? Like, seriously, no one's going to be here without us birthing babies.
And that is the whole point right now, especially with what we just went through the last few years, you know. I feel so blessed being an identical twin
Hmm.
in that I have had that most of my life. I have had the sister to the side of me, to the sister, you know, watching me wail and go through my griefs and been there for me and in our griefs together. And um,
Validated your grief.
yeah, and it's just like it was like, you know, we were in the womb together. We feed off of each other, you know. To the woman that doesn't have that, to the woman that may not even have sisters to look towards. I love the groups that you've created and these sisterhoods and, you know, Central Empire, you know, all these kind of ways for people to connect, for women to connect. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the service and the offering that I provide very often is the container. It's the space where people can come together, where there's a system or a network that we are supporting each other. You know, one of the things that I really can feel right now, and I feel a lot of truth on this, is that what happened with this whole thing, whatever that was, is that a lot of people lost a lot of friends, right? Either different
Mhm.
opinions, whatever. I mean, I can honestly say that in my own family, like someone doesn't talk to me anymore because they saw me on Facebook not wearing a mask with my mother, and they thought that was negligent and absolutely criminal that I wouldn't wear a mask with my mom, who is 80 something years old, who deeply needed to see my face and was isolated alone. And yeah, I'm gonna hug her and be with her.
Yeah, I
Right.
likewise, I have lost people, I've lost friends,
And
close.
while I understand their rage and their fear, um, be very, very careful what happens with people who are really intelligent who get scared because it causes, again, a disconnection and a misalignment, right? Really, really smart people getting scared is exactly what just happened. So we'll leave that there. Going back, what I do and what I create is containers for women to come together to be seen, witnessed, validated, connected, for them to see the reflection and the truth of who they are within this space. And what happens with women who are, maybe some women are looking for abundance or they're looking for networking or they're looking for friendship, is that when they can see themselves in other women, game over. I know that this has happened for me and I didn't even know that I needed it. And it wasn't until I actually got into containers with other women where I could see myself, where uh, was when I truly started to become the fullness and the truth of who I am.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
And that's great. I love what you do. And I've always told you this, and I've said it a few different times. I don't know if it'll come out differently right now, but when I refer someone to you or I refer a woman to you, the first people that I like come to mind, or the first people that I want to even hear all this, are literally the females that are down on women, down on men, um, emasculating,
Mhm.
taking power away from men by their behavior towards them or their outward distaste and dislike on social media.
Yeah.
Um, and I
They're,
want to acknowledge them that they may have reasons for that. And that's, I completely understand that. But it's like, we are all not going to get better until we start here first.
Mhm.
And I'm a woman, so I'm going to start with my womanhood. And then the men are going to get better, the choices are going to get better of men picking women, you know, it's all going to get better if we get better.
Yeah, and very often what happens is in these containers, in these reflections, right, of other women, we can really see where we're not taking personal responsibility for our own bullshit. right? So there's a win. You know, I am not drawn to containers of women where women are sitting around gossiping or being victimized by their life. A lot of women feel safe in that. And I think that the reason they feel safe in those containers is because it keeps them stagnant, right? They can continue to run the same story. He did this to me.
Hmm.
Baby girl, here's the thing. You willingly participated in part of that. What part of that was yours?
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
yeah, and you know, in high school, I remember, this is kind of the some of the stuff that happens like with Mean Girls, right? In high school,
Hmm.
and that's very foundational. Is like I remember this guy named Rob asking me to homecoming, and I barely knew him, and I was super excited because I'd never been asked to homecoming, and someone keyed my car in my circle of girlfriends because another girl liked this guy, and I didn't even know it, right? That's the kind of crap that chicks do. Instead of like being excited, well, he asked you, right? That's cool. Like, I'm happy for you. Or, gosh, I'm really sad because I really liked him, or I really like him. Like, that's the disconnect. Like, we're in some sort of competition with each other, right?
Yeah, like it
Or,
was your fault.
yeah. Or, like, even at work, oh, well, did you see her shoes? What the heck? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we what I always say if there's a woman that's pissing you off, man, she is a teacher and a mirror and possibly a projection.
Ooh, yeah. So yeah, competition of resources definitely is
Yeah.
been one that stands out.
And I will say that in this work, I am a huge trigger for women because I am speaking truth about what the innate power of the feminine is. And man, oh man, you want to see women get pissed off when I start telling them that they are the ocean. That just annoys them. I mean, imagine embracing that. That would actually mean taking responsibility for your power, right?
Oh yeah, and the mean girl thing doesn't end at 17, 14, 15, 16, 17, whatever. I have seen it all the way to 50 and the person is older,
Oh,
and
I see it in the older Christian women the most. How dare you talk about sexuality? How dare you talk about the flesh? How dare I remind them that they are hot and juicy and still very much able to be a full expression and to feel themselves? How dare I?
yeah, how dare them, you know?
It's a denial of self, and that's all it is.
Yeah,
That's
and
that's the bottom line.
yeah, so much I could talk about here. Okay, let's kind of pivot just a little bit because I know there's things within your container that kind of get brought out and talked about. And one of them is you're a huge proponent of plant medicine. You've got this big, huge green plants behind you. It just reminded me to kind
Mhm.
of bring that up. And I sort of wanted to know why.
Yeah,
What?
I just found myself getting emotional. Like, gosh, the
Okay.
the the power of plants, and the disconnection of nature. I think that for us humans is probably one of the biggest things that's keeping us from being well. And I am a big proponent of plant medicine. And uh, I want to say that plant medicine quite possibly has saved my life in many ways. And the the energetics of that kind of life force is unmatched. And we have been told and that plant medicine is bad. We have been told that psychedelics are bad. We've been told that mushrooms are bad. We've been told that cannabis is bad. And yet, fast forward, we're finally seeing the statistics and the studies around cannabis and psychedelics that are actually healing so many of our veterans, right?
Mhm.
And how important it is. Um, and I really do believe that part of my job, my assignment on the planet, is to bring reverence back to the feminine, which is uh, the earth and this connection that we are disconnected with, um, the disconnection of us as humans, of species of this planet, back into alignment. And I was a super nerd, right? Like I never even tried cannabis until I was like 36 years old. And the only reason I tried it was because I'd taken a shit ton of Excedrin, drank the Coke that someone told me would work to like make my head stop hurting. Not cocaine. I wasn't doing, I didn't do that. But like Coca-Cola, because that was like there was enough caffeine and sugar to do something. It didn't work. The Imitrex, the pharmaceuticals that they gave me, that also didn't work. And I was just literally like in so much pain that my husband brought me home some cannabis and he just said, just try this. And I was so desperate to not be in pain because I couldn't even open my eyes that one tiny hit, one tiny puff took my 4 day migraine that made me like not even able to function for 4 days, not have pain. I was 36 years old. I'd never even tried it.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, we're definitely seeing many people being helped.
Mhm.
Um,
Or people who are addicted to opioids. I've
mhm,
seen so many people and have, you know, been witnessed, been privileged to witness their healing to be able to get off of those super hyper addictive, destructive chemicals through cannabis or through ayahuasca or through ibogaine. And again, I want to preface that, in my opinion, these substances, these medicines, should be used in ceremonial spaces as they're used in indigenous cultures, as a ritual, not as recreation, and with guides, with people who are guides of this medicine who have devoted their life to the stewarding of these plants.
mhm. Very, very interesting. And I've heard so many people's experiences. I've not done anything like that.
And
I,
again, I'm a super nerd, right? So
yeah,
like I'm pretty prim and proper. I don't
yeah.
or for what people would call prim and proper. I barely use alcohol. Like
Mhm,
it's it's just not in my makeup. But what I
mhm.
have seen and what I've experienced and how it's really changed my life has been, uh, and frankly, the trajectory of, my family's lives is nothing short of a miracle, in my opinion. And I am so grateful to plants and to this planet and for the healing that is provided.
Yeah, definitely. I love getting back to Mother Earth. I think that's such a huge part of what we both do when we share with people about, even just earthing and grounding, in dirt and in the grass and that kind of thing. Okay, so now that we're kind of leaning towards that, what do you feel like, because that can help anybody. What
It
do you,
can. I also want to say though that
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that will go do it just because it sounds like a fun thing to do to trip out. I don't recommend that. I'm not a proponent of just going for the trip. And the plant knows. Like the spirit of the plant um, is wise, and she will give you what you need, not necessarily what you want.
Exactly, the experience that you're gonna have is the experience you're supposed to have.
Hmm. And I got my
Um,
ass kicked, several times. Not really super excited about that, but definitely the message I needed to get.
Interesting. Okay, so on that score, what do you want people to know at this time about humanity in general?
Hmm.
Like, how can we help people more, Like,
What I really want for people to know about being human is that, you know, this we we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's the first thing I want people to know. But I also want people to know is that their humanity, the experiences that we have as a human, all of the setbacks and the ruptures and the awareness and the breakdowns can actually provide the biggest opening to the opportunity. I
true.
know that
Yeah.
when I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which, was threatening my life, it was also the place where the biggest opportunity was for me. And so that human experience, right, was actually genius. And that's what I want people to know is so life is going to happen. It's going to be, there's going to be challenges. However, it's always happening for us.
Definitely. I love looking at the healing journey as a gift. Everything that kind of comes on it and pops off and comes back on. Definitely all of those are gifts, and we can look at it that way. In a healthy way, we can look at it that way. I think if you've never heard that before, it's possible that you just see what woe is me, you
Uh-huh.
know? And then if we can look at something was meant for us. Okay, for example, something horrible happening, you could say, what did I learn from this situation? What can I learn from this situation? And oh my gosh, could this have been a huge blessing in disguise, a huge gift? Even though it hurts so bad right now, like what if you asked yourself, oh my gosh, you know what? It's possible that a prayer has been answered for me right now, even though I don't like the way I feel. It is a possibility
Yeah.
that a prayer has been answered.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Absolutely. Yeah. How is this happening for me? Even when I have like, uh, conflicts with, my husband or a fight or something, I'm like, how is this for me? Where is the opening here? Where is the opportunity? Like,
Mhm.
what do I even deeper need to even go deeper into my own development, right?
Deeper, because like you said, the sun is the giver and the woman is the receiver, this the moon energy. I think that's what you were about to say. Maybe you didn't finish all of that.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. Last but not least, how can people find you, Alexis?
Alexis As other side, alexisasbe.com. I'm pretty much on all social media channels or even YouTube. I'm just getting started putting some more content out on that. If you Google me, just that's where you'll find me.
Yes.
And most of all is if you're in some sort of transition or rebirth process, uh, I would love to be able to support you in this transition. I think we all need a doula sometimes during life. And yeah,
Yeah, I
so
love that.
find
I
me.
love that. And tell us about, I think you have a really big event coming up in June. Just kind of give us a
Yeah,
little
it's not,
taste.
yeah, actually, it's not really big. It's called Becoming, and it's the way of the feminine, and it's about becoming the woman that you want to be or you're meant to be. And it's really an initiation, and it's actually going to be held here at my private ranch in Northern California, and it's a small, intimate group. It's already, I think I haven't released it to my big group, and this is like when I'm talking about it publicly. I think it's 75% full already, which I'm super excited about. If you feel led, if you have desire, like if something wells up in you and you say, gosh, I really want to do something like this is an initiation into what your woman wants, right? Like if you just think about that, what does your woman want? Not what should you do, not what the world wants from you, but what does your woman deeply long for and crave?
I love it. If you're a man watching the show, a husband, a boyfriend, and you see this, don't maybe just go out and purchase something like that for your, thinking it might be good for them. I think what you could do is have them set up a consult with Alexis or just have them watch the show. It could be something for them. Alexis Asbe, thank you so much for coming on to How We Heal with Dr. Maria. You shared some amazing and wonderful things with us today, and I want to thank you.
Yeah, I want to say one last thing. If there's any interest in
Yeah.
plant medicine, one of the facilities that I highly recommend is called New Life Ayahuasca. These are dear, incredible stewards of the medicine. They are all about the medicine, and it would be a really great place for people to start looking into. They have thousands of reviews on Google. So again, it's New Life Ayahuasca. in Costa Rica, that would be a great place for people to start. And other than that, thank you so much. I want to say I love you, Maria, and
Oh,
I love our relationship and how we're both evolving and growing together,
wow.
and even our conversation, just like we can evolve and grow and be in full display and support each other in such a beautiful way. And so, yeah, I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you so much.
And I'm
And we
also so
have.
grateful for you, the way that you advocate for men so radically. It's so beautiful. And, you know, about that men thing, that men live to serve the feminine, right? They're warriors.
Okay, I know we're ending the show, but yes, I do advocate for them so radically. I don't know if it's a past life thing. Maybe I was a man. I don't know, but look at how I'm supporting veterans. I see every day what's going on. I see my dad. I see what's going on. We know about the 22 a day or more, right? So it's like, I see men getting chastised by the woman, the feminist. So I know that we will be better when they're better, and they will be better when we're better. And I want that moment. I want that
Mhm.
man. I want that masculine provider and protector and giver. And I want to be soft. I want to be able
Mhm.
to be soft. So anyway,
And
thank you so much.
you want to fall into the truth of who you are. You want to
Yeah,
surrender into the opening of who you are
yeah,
as a woman. Yeah,
yeah.
your natural state of being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it tends to come easy for me. So I like being in that space. So anyway, you guys, I will have Alexis's information in the description on YouTube. Always remember, backup is on Rumble if for some reason this gets taken down. But it looks like Alexis Asbe is her handle on Instagram. Thank you guys for joining us. And until next time, How We Heal with
Love you.
Dr. Maria. Love you.
Thank you.